If you don't learn anything from this, please get this. Never underestimate your enemy. See, yesterday I realized I was being robbed. And I think it's because I've been trained to underestimate my enemy. Let me explain. I think sometimes when we read certain scriptures, we underestimate just how cunning our enemy really is. So when we see stuff like the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, I think we often take the approach of the obvious. Like the obvious way that we've experienced stealing, death, and destruction, but we're not taught to go a little further into the strategy of it, right? But baby, be careful when you underestimate the cunningness of someone who isn't new to this, but is true to this, okay? Because as of yesterday, I'm convinced that the enemy's greatest strategy has been to solicit our own help in the stealing, killing, and destruction of our own life, own destiny, and hope and peace, and all the other things that you can attach to it. See, how you may be asking, maybe by taking our focus and using it against us. And this is something that we call distraction. See, yes. See, the enemy will distract us long enough for us to become participants in our own loss, our own discouragement, unrest, inability to see things clearly, and more importantly, our inability to truly see how good God is, his nature, his character, and what he's already done and is doing right now. And yeah, see, this is how I got here. So I realized yesterday, sitting on my back patio, that I have been being robbed of the blessing that I've prayed for. For the first time, I allowed myself to sit on my back patio, which is a place I haven't really sat because it hasn't been up to my expectations of what I have been wanting. I've been comparing and looking at all of these different things, and I hadn't allowed myself to experience what God has given me. And so, for the first time sitting down there, I realized just how peaceful, how beautiful, how lit it was on my back patio. And it was enough in that moment for it to hit me to realize that I have been so distracted by what it was not yet that I had been missing what it already was. And that made me get to thinking about how many times the enemy has been stealing things from us, not by removing the blessing, but just training you to overlook it. Not by taking away what God has done, but by literally getting us to do the dirty work for him. Let me explain. See, getting us to downplay and to compare the blessing, getting us to dishonor because it don't look like it's finished, getting us to miss the goodness of God that's already present right here, right now. And if we're not careful, we get so focused on the next goal, the next move, the next level, all of these things that we don't slow down to see what God has already placed us in. We get so busy trying to become and build and prove and reach that we don't take a second to rest in the blessing that is now. And let me be clear, because I'm not here to crush your goals and your desires and your growth. It's not wrong. But we have to be careful that the goal doesn't become the thing that feeds us our identity, right? Because when we move too fast in this thing called process in life, when we become so focused on just trying to obtain, we begin to measure life by accumulation. And accumulation ain't the goal. And let's clear this up. Two things can be true at the same time. See, it can be tight right now in your pockets and you can still be highly blessed, okay? You can be in the most uncomfortable season of your life and God can be the most faithful you've ever seen him. And you can feel super stretched and still have evidence of provision all around you. Trust me, baby, I am living it right now. So, blessing and prosperity is not about money, it's about life, it's about love, it's about health and wellness and relationship, peace and stability and clarity. It's about grace to still be able to show up in spite of what is still being worked out and unveiled in you. And if we're honest, because we're going to be honest right now, distraction has been one of the greatest thieves of our life because distraction trains us to downplay the position God actually holds in our life. It teaches us to focus on what is unfulfilled. It teaches us to look for the quick way, the quick method, the quick way out. And it teaches us to despise process instead of being settled in it. So maybe today, maybe the question is, where has he distracted me from what God has already given me? What has he already stolen from me? Where has my joy been stolen and convinced me that what I have isn't enough? Where has he killed my gratitude by keeping my eyes fixed on something that ain't even happened yet? Where has he destroyed my peace by making me believe that My blessing only counts when it's comfortable and it looks abundant. Jesus said, I came that they may have life and have it more abundantly. That's not a later or after thing. It's not when everything in your life looks perfect. It's not when money is right. And it's not when the next door of opportunity opens for you. It's about right now. It's about the right here. It's about right in the midst of life unveiling and opening for you, and it's still being worked out, right? And maybe, just maybe, that's the place where restoration begins. See, yesterday, sitting outside in the space that I had prayed for so many years ago, I made a decision that I would not let what is still unfinished cause me to overlook what is already blessed. So the invitation today is not only to ask God, it's not to only ask God for more, excuse me, but to return to the life He has already given you and recognize that His goodness has been present the whole time. So sit with that today. Look around, pay attention, and remember what God has already done. And whatever you do, remember this: live the chosen and true life. I love you guys.